Guys, congratulations on your purchase of the new ebook, Borrow from Yourself. I do appreciate your support. This is a re recording of the Borrow from Yourself. I wanted to clean it up a little bit and make it a bit more presentable to you guys since you are. Paying. I didn't want to release the original YouTube because there was a lot of side conversations and other thoughts and things that were sort of unrelated to the borrow from yourself process. So I'm going to go over my own personal situation. I told you guys called the IRS because I had some questions regarding the 1041 that the packet, I sent an entire packet to them. And I had some questions regarding the 1041 that I sent to them because I started to look at the documents again and I felt as though initially I thought that I was paying, like I was reporting a transaction to the IRS, letting them know that, hey, I had a transaction with Ali Bank. They owe me money. They were the recipients of these funds. They are withholding, and I would like that money back. But after speaking to the IRS agent, I learned that that is not exactly what was going on. So we're going to go over my own personal 1041, my 1041V, my 1099 OID. We're going to go over the 1096. Did I cover everything? I think those are all, and the 56s as well. Okay, so the very first 56 you see in front of you on the screen is my estate. Okay, the name of the person for whom you are acting as shown on the tax return. The tax return, think of it as the check, right? So who will this check? The tax return is just money returned to you. How will this check be addressed to you? What entity will this check be addressed to, if that makes sense? So the name of the person for whom you are acting as shown on the tax return. I gave them the name of my estate exactly as it is written on the CP 575, which is a confirmation letter that you receive from the IRS stating that your estate EIN, your entity has been successfully set up. Okay, so the first line, Christina Meredith Wilson Estate. The identifying number, this is the estate EIN. Here is the decedent's social security number with no dashes. Okay, address of person for whom you are acting. Okay, so I provided either, if you would like, if you're comfortable with using your home address, you can. If you're not, you can just use your P.O. box. Okay, so provide the address, P.O. box, whatever the case may be, for address of the person for whom you are acting. Keep in mind that when you provide this address for the estate, that is where the check, if you're requesting a physical copy of the check, that is where the check is going to be sent. So be sure that you have access to that mailbox, that there's nothing going on with that mailbox so that you can receive the payment from the IRS. The next box, enter your city, town, and zip. It's pretty straightforward. Okay, for the fiduciary box, Christina, this hyphen Meredith Wilson, that is my executor. So I identified my executor on the line that requests the fiduciary's name. Okay. The next line, the address of the fiduciary. I just said that the fiduciary is in care of, and then I provided the home address. My home address was listed here. I provided the city, town, state, and zip code here. Telephone number is optional. It says optional. You have the option of putting your telephone number or leaving it off if you're not comfortable with that. I've never received a call. I have entered my phone number, but I've never gotten a call from the IRS. Okay. Down here, it says authority. Okay. This question wants to know, the fiduciary has the power to tap the accounts. Okay, it has the power to tap the decedent's account, who was a banker, an investor. They want to know, where did you get this authority from? Okay, your authority came from, now, on my new 56s, I checked box E, valid trust instrument and amendments. That valid trust instrument was the Social Security card. That was the card giving me the authority, or my decedent, the authority to do what it is that we're doing now. That's where my authority comes from. And also, other is checked. Other described by assignment at birth in SS4. I got this from Patrick originally. So I got this information from Patrick. I agree with it. Like, yeah, we were assigned our birth certificates and our social security cards at birth. And also my authority comes from the SS4 because my decedent appointed me, okay, as the executor of her assets, if that makes sense. That's what we were doing on the SS4. We were appointing our executor, okay, because we killed off our public banker, which is a fiction. It was not a physical death of a natural person, but a corporate death, if that makes sense. And so we killed off that public banker. We don't want to do business like that anymore. And we brought that banker back as an executor, okay, to manage all of the assets that that public banker issued or created, or accounts that public banker created while she was living, okay? And so that's where we got our authority. So from the SS4 in the ebook, you're going to see per SS4 and per SS5, because the SS5 application was the application that our parents filled out on our behalf when we were issued the Social Security card. So in the other box, it says per SS4 and per SS5. You are free to modify or change that information if you would like. Next, we have 2A is blank, 2B. If box 1C, 1E, 1F, or 1G is checked, enter the date of appointment, taking office, or assignment, or transfer of assets. I just put the date that I turned 25. You don't have to use that date if you don't want. If you're comfortable using today's date, there's really no wrong answer. I've sent multiple 56s, and I would change like certain information to see would there be some sort of impact, and there was no change. So whether or not you want to put the date that you turned 25, the date that you turned 18, technically you were considered a legal adult, or if you just want to put today's date, it doesn't matter. Okay. Nature of tax liability and notices. Okay, so this is where you're telling the IRS that, listen, IRS, I'm going to be doing some things here. Okay, don't worry. I have my proper authority. I'm going to be putting in some tax forms regarding an estate. I'm going to send you a 1041. I'm going to be sending you some 1099s, a 1096. A 1041 voucher or 1040 voucher if you don't have your estate, and the 1099 OID, which I covered in 1099s. I'm just going to be sending these tax documents into you. Don't worry. Don't freak out. Okay, that's all. This is just a notice. Okay, you're just giving the IRS a courtesy, a notice to let them know that you are, as the fiduciary, you're going to be tapping the accounts. Okay, that's all that this is. It's just a notice. So don't worry. All right, so in part 2, where we talk about revocation or termination of notice, I checked C, other, describe. I put the name of my executor. This is my executor, is sole senior fiduciary. Okay, so I am the master here. I am the one with the power and the authority to tap these accounts. Okay. You see, I just signed executor, a receiver. Okay, I am in receivership to receive the assets from the decedent, and then I dated. That was it. Okay, now moving on to the next 56, identification. Now, this is the name of my decedent. Okay, this is the name of my deceased person. Your name, depending on, and I based this off of the correspondence that I got from the IRS, because that is how my name is written on my IRS account. It's written Christina M. Wilson. Yours may be slightly different. It could be your first and last name. It could be your first, middle, and last name. I have seen all of those. So if you want, just double check with the IRS, or you can log on like the IRS online, like you would if you were checking, let's say, to see if you completed a tax return like for the year, and it would tell you, it would give you the format of the name. Or you can call up the IRS and just ask, can you tell me how my name is formatted for this account? Is it my first name, middle initial, last name? Is it my first, middle name, last name? You can call them up and ask them, and they'll tell you. Okay, so here I put my decedent's name. Here I put my executor's, my estate EIN number. Sorry, not my executor, but here's my estate EIN number. Next to it is the decedent's social security number with no dashes. That is a closed account. Okay, so when you see a number, your social security number with no dashes, that is a closed account. Okay, that account is only authorized for set off and adjustment. Okay, and you're adjusting it, you're withdrawing from it. That is an adjustment. Okay, so it has no dashes, but a social security number with dashes is an open account, so it can receive and it can withdraw. You can do both when the dashes are present in the social security number, but when they are not, this is considered a closed account. The closed account is for set off and adjustment. Okay, same. What is the address of the person for whom you are acting? Okay, it's okay if the addresses are the same. These addresses are the same, even though it's redacted. I'm just protecting my private information. But these two addresses are the same, and the 56s and the 1040, everything processed just fine. I put my city, town, state, and zip, fiduciary's name. So I'm notifying the IRS. IRS, listen. I am the fiduciary of this entity, Christina M. Wilson, and I am also the fiduciary of the estate. Okay, because we're going to be utilizing these two entities to facilitate the borrowing process. Okay, borrowing from our treasury, borrowing from our own resources. All right, and so the authority is the same as before. Other described by assignment at birth and SS4. In the ebook, it says by the per SS5 and per the SS4, because again, the SS5 was the instrument that our parents filled out for us when we were born, creating the Social Security Trust or the Treasury account. Okay, also, I check box E, valid trust instrument, again, referring to that Social Security. It's a trust instrument. That's exactly what it is. Okay. Here it's the same. 1C, 1E, 1F, or 1G. If that is checked, enter the date of appointment, taking office, or assignment, or transfer of assets. Okay, you can enter today's date. You can enter the date that you turn 25, or you can enter the date that you turn 18. There is no wrong answer. I want to leave that for you guys to choose to help you get in the mindset of making choices for yourself. Okay, there are multiple options. You make the choice. I have used all of those different dates of births, and there was no change. There was no effect to the outcome of any of my tax returns. Okay. Nature of liability and tax notices. Okay. Again, as before, I'm sending you an estate. I'm processing an estate tax return. Okay, IRS, I'm sending in 1099s to you. I'm going to be sending the 1096 to you. I'm going to be sending the 1041 to you, or 1040 for just individuals. I'm going to be sending these items in to you for processing. Don't freak out. Don't worry. I have the authority to do what I'm doing. Okay, you're just providing them with notice. All right. You're just exchanging your assets. That's all you're doing. Everything in America is about exchange. You're just exchanging your assets. That's all. Okay. Same as before. For part 2, revocation or termination of notice. Other, Christina is the sole senior fiduciary. Your executor, okay, is sole. No one else, okay, no one else should. It's my sole, SOLE. It's my sole. I am the sole senior. No one else should be doing anything here except me, okay, except your executor. I'm sorry. All right, you sign date, executor, receiver. If you don't want to use those terms, however you would like to title your fiduciary. I would say, since you're using the estate, it makes the most sense to say you're the executor, but you can go, as long as you can justify it, okay? You go along with what is comfortable for you. Now, here is where I made my mistakes. Okay. In the filer's name, if you read the instructions, which I urge you guys to do, please read the instructions. Read, get a dictionary. If you read a particular word and it doesn't translate in your mind, stop. Do not continue. You must get the translation, okay? You get a dictionary. If you don't have a Black's Law or Bouvier's, don't worry. Use Oxford, okay? Oxford will give you multiple definitions. And just remember, we're talking about banking and finance. So we're looking for a definition that fits into what it is that we're doing. Okay, you define that word, you use it in a sentence, make sure it makes sense to you, and then you move on. Okay, so here in the instructions, it said to write the name as it is written on the 1099. And I missed that. Okay, so I wrote the executor's name here, and it should have been the name that I wrote on the 1099 as the payer. And we're going to go over that in just a moment. Here, there's nothing special, just home address, city, town, zip. There's nothing, no foreign, none of that is included in this. Okay. Name of person to contact. I just put my first name. I entered my phone number. It's optional if you would like. If you don't want to, you don't have to. I have sent 1096s where I did not enter my phone number or email address, and it made no, never mind. It's still processed. Okay. The next question is employer identification number or social security number. Here I placed the social security number with dashes. Okay. Over here, it says total number of forms. It's just one. I just sent one form. Federal income tax withheld. I said $35,137. So what I was thinking was this was the money that I paid to Ally Bank for my car before I knew that I was not obligated to pay this extra money, that the transaction was complete back in 2017 once I issued the promissory note. So what I was under the belief is that I was reporting this transaction to the IRS and that I was saying that, hey, I want my money back. But in fact, I found out later that that's not exactly what was going on. And we'll talk about that in just a moment. Okay, so I wrote down the federal income tax withheld here, and I placed the same amount, total amount reported on this IRS form 1096 is the same. Okay, down here, I checked which form that I'm sending to the IRS. It's a 1099 OID. I signed as my executor. I dated the form. Okay, now this is what I was just speaking about. Sorry, guys, I apologize to you. This is the part that I was just speaking about where I said that I misunderstood or misinterpreted, or I could have just skipped over it. I can't even tell you what I was thinking at the time. And the instructions on the 1096 here, this form, which is called the 1096, it tells you to the filer is the name as it is written on the upper left-hand corner of the 1099. Okay, so even though I made the mistake of entering my executor's name, even though this was mistakes and I'm pointing out to you guys errors, and the reason why I'm doing that is because even if you make a mistake, okay, it's okay. You can fix it. If the IRS sends you a letter and says, hey, we don't understand what this is or what that is, you can correct all of this. None of this stuff is set in stone, that it can be corrected. Okay. And so even though, as I was saying, that I made errors, okay, there were errors on this form where I misinterpreted or I didn't read it or I didn't understand it, whatever was going on with me a year ago or a year and a half ago when I did this, I put my executor's name as the filer. Okay, and it should have been the name that was written on the 1099 OID. Again, despite that error, all of this still processed. Okay. Here I put my decedent's name. I put the address and phone number, okay, on the form. Here is my decedent's social security number with the dashes. Okay. I put the tax year 2022. Okay. The tax year, even though this says calendar year and original issue discount for the year 2022, right? We were in the tax year 2022, even though it was 2023. Okay, so you want, since now we're in the 2023 tax year, okay, you want to be sure that you have 2023 here and you have 2023 here, because if not, if you put the calendar year as 2024, you won't get a return, because the IRS is going to hold that information until the next tax season. And so you'll be sitting there waiting like, where's my check? What happened to my money? Well, you put the wrong calendar year here. And I know it says calendar, and I was almost mistaken, right? Like I was like, yeah, the calendar year is 23. And I'm glad I went with my gut instinct and I said, no, I don't think I should put 23, even though it says calendar year. Okay. 2022 was a calendar year. It doesn't say current calendar year either. So I stuck to my reasoning, okay, and I entered 2022, and this processed fairly quickly. I got a check back in about 2 to 3 weeks from the IR. It took about three weeks to get the return back. All right. So I put the recipient's name here, Ally Bank. I put their headquarters, Sandy, Utah. Okay. This account number at the bottom. I know people had a bunch of questions like, where did you get that account number? Originally, I was going to fill out this 1099 OID online. There is this online tax software called 1099 Online. And I was entering this information on the 1099 online, but I was unable to configure the 1099 OID to the information I wanted to input. The system would change the information to what it was programmed to. Like, let's say if I put here federal income taxes withheld, the system would automatically start to populate these other areas that I did not want it to do. And so I was like, you know what? I'll be better off not using this online software. I'll probably be better off just filing a paper form. But what I did was the online software gave me a random number. Okay. And I used that. I wrote that number down. I created my own log for my private bank. So all my account numbers, certified mail numbers, I just tracked those. I took that random number. This is a random number. This has nothing to do with any of the accounts. Okay. This was a random number that I assigned to this 1099 OID. And here is the actual account number that I have with Ally Bank. Okay. And so in the description box, I wrote for credits used on account 611, whatever the case, paid to the U.S. Department of the Treasury. Okay. Is what I wrote in the description box. At the time, what I was thinking after reading the OID a couple of times, okay, the OID can be used as a check. Okay. Here is I'm reporting to the IRS that this is the payer, okay? And from the IRS's perspective, I was going to be entering into some sort of agreement with Ally Bank and that I needed the funds to be able to facilitate this transaction. Like, does that make sense to you guys? I thought that I was telling the IRS that, IRS, I want my money back. I paid these people more than what I should have because I did not owe them an additional $35,000 on top of, all this extra interest and late fees and payments. Like, no, I did not owe them that. I want that money back. I originally thought that that's what I was saying on this 1099 OID. And like I said, after talking to the IRS agent, it's not. Okay, I was withdrawing these funds from this account. Okay, and I was telling the IRS that, hey, IRS, I'm going to be transferring this money that I'm borrowing. The recipient is going to be Ally Bank, if that makes sense to you. And I did not realize it. I just knew that I was turning this into a check, but I was unclear on exactly what I was implying here. Okay. And like I said, after talking to the agent, she kind of helped me piece together. I'm like, holy crap, I was borrowing I was borrowing in order to pay for the transaction. Okay. So this account number is random. Pay to the order goes here. You don't even have to put this extra language that I did. I had studied for about a year. I was kind of unsure, but the only way that I was going to find out is to do it, to try it. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, there are errors. Like there are errors all over this thing. And I pointed out to you guys that even though there were errors, like the IRS still work with me. And I believe that the IRS, I think that they're waiting for us to do this. I really do believe that, like with some of the people that I talk to, they have helped me even, when I was setting up like my foreign trust and I had things wrong, and the agents were telling me like, maybe you should consider this, because they can only give us advice. Maybe you should consider this. Maybe you should consider that. And they helped me so much. So kind of try to get over your fear, of talking to the IRS and just asking them. You don't know, so if you don't know something, you just ask. It's that simple. Okay. So let's say you sent in your 1099 and there was something that was not accurate or incorrect. Okay. All you have to do is file a brand new 1099 OID, and at the top you hit correct it or you void. Okay. So what'll happen is the previous OID that you sent would become void. It was this that made me realize, okay, where do you see void at? On checks. And I didn't see this on any of the other 1099s. And so as I was reading it, I said that, holy crap, I think this might be a check. And I was right. Okay. Okay, so that's it for that one. All right, so now we're talking about the 1041. Okay, it's my decedent's estate. Okay, it's my decedent is a debtor. Okay, it's a debtor to me, right? Not a debtor to any of the other corporations. It's a debtor it owes me. Okay, and so on my tax return, here's the name of my estate. I put my employer identification number, the date the entity was created. Okay, on your CP-575, which is your confirmation letter that you got from the IRS, it states the date that you set up this entity. You want to enter that date right here. Okay, and just move on. That's all it wants. When did you set up the entity? Look at your CP-575. If I set the entity up for you, just go into your email, open up that CP-575 confirmation letter, and look at that date and just write the date down right here. Name and title of fiduciary. This is my executor. Okay, number, my home address, city, town, state, zip. Okay. I also want to point you guys' attention that you can make changes, okay? So let's say you sent in a 1041 and there were errors, okay? You redo the 1041 and you click here to say this is an amended return, okay? Let's say you decided you wanted to change your fiduciary's name, which I did. I didn't see the need to have my fiduciary's name this long, so I just cut it down to Christina Wilson. I hit change in fiduciary's name, and then I cut my name down to just my first and last name, executor. And again, it updated the IRS's records for my fiduciary. If you need to change the fiduciary's address, let's say if you moved or you're relocating to somewhere else, okay, you would click this box and just enter the new address, and the 1041 will automatically update this information for you. Okay, I just wanted to bring that to your attention. Or like change in name, like let's say you wanted to change the name, or you want to add a middle name, or you want to take out a middle name, whatever it is you want to do, you can make those changes right down here. Okay. Everything is 0. Okay. 0, 0, 0. All right. Make sure you sign the form, date it. You know what? All of these are not 0, and I'm going to go over the parts where I left off the values. But again, even though I had errors, guys, and that's why I'm showing this to you to kind of help with, I know it's scary. Like, the IRS is scary. I'm terrified. I don't know what may come of this. Okay. To try to help you overcome some of those fears and uncertainties. Okay. And I'm going to show you even the mistakes I made. That's why I'm using my 1041 instead of using the newer examples that I placed within the ebook. Okay. So here I clicked federal income tax withheld if any is from forms 1099. Yes, it is. The federal taxes withheld is on that check, that 1099 OID. It's that check is holding the money. It's being withheld from me. And so we're sending the OID into the IRS to exchange that OID for a treasury check, for an asset that we can use for that value. Does that make sense? Everything is exchange. Okay, so we're sending this OID into the IRS and saying, hey, can you exchange this for me? And then send it to my estate as a return. Does that kind of, make sense to you guys? So here, box 14, I click, if any is for forms 1099, check here, and I enter the value. Okay, down here it says total payments, add lines 12 through 15 and 16C through 18. Enter here and on page 1, line 26. So I entered it here. Page 1, line 26. I forgot it, guys. You see, I forgot it. I've total payments. I forgot it. But even though I forgot it, it's still processed. So don't freak out if you make a mistake. Okay. It's okay. All mistakes, everything can be amended. I don't care if you get a frivolous filing. I don't care what they send you. Okay. It can be corrected. It can be voided. Okay. Hopefully that make you guys, it made me feel better when I found that out. I can void it. I can amend it. I can. Okay, I see. I kind of understand now, so I don't feel so anxious and scared. Okay. So I made a mistake here and I didn't enter the $35,137 as instructed. Okay. And it also says, if line 26 is larger than the total of lines 24, 25, and 27, enter the amount overpaid. You can enter the 35, or if you want to if you want to borrow 250, if you want to borrow 500, okay, I just say be reasonable. Start off small, okay, because you guys, Patrick would say this all the time, we're not ready yet to handle millions of dollars. I know some of you might think you are, but I don't know. Maybe you are. I don't want to say that, tell you I don't want to put in your mind negative thoughts telling you what you can or can't do, but it's just my suggestion to kind of get your feet wet. So if 250 is good enough for you to be able, let's say if you're in foreclosure or repossession, okay, you don't really know how to bank yet and you're in an emergency, just pay those people and get them out of your hair, get rid of them. Okay, so now you're not in an emergency. Okay, you don't feel panic, and now in a calm environment, you can begin to learn, how do I operate my bank? How do I run my estate? How do I use the foreign grantor trust? Okay, and so that was really the purpose of why I'm bringing out the borrow from yourself, so that you can get these people off of your back, these damn pirates. Okay, you can go ahead, just take the money out of your trust, because that's what it is. It's bank robbery. Okay, so just take the money out of your trust. Pay these people off, tell them to go to hell, leave you alone. I never want to hear from you again. Okay. And now once you're comfortable, no one is taking your house, your cars are safe, everything is safe. Now you can go through Patrick's videos. You can go through my files. You can, learn different information that you didn't know before and use that to to inform you or advise you how you should run your own private bank. Okay, if that makes sense. Sign the 1041. Okay, and that's it, guys. I didn't even fill this out. This part, if you want, I just, you can click no down the line, but I didn't even fill it out, and the IRS didn't even care. Okay, now the 1041 voucher. This is another place where I got the idea to convert that OID into a check. I got it from here on the voucher. And the voucher says, make your payment, your check or money order, or we're given an order, okay, payable to the United States Treasury. Don't send cash. Okay. That's what I did with my OID, since I made my OID a check payable to the Treasury so that the Treasury can make the check and then route it to my estate. Okay, this is a 1041 voucher. If you don't have an estate, you will be using the 1040 voucher. For your tax return, you'll be using the 1040. Okay, but for this, I'm just doing the 1040, the 1041, the 1040 and the 1041s are very similar. Okay. And I did provide both examples in the ebook. Okay. Here is the social security number. I put it with no dashes. Okay. If you want to enter dashes, I've done both. I've done dashes and no dashes to see what would happen. And it processed just fine. Okay. But if you want to just put your EIN here with no dashes, or like if you don't have an estate and you're using your 1040, you can put it there with dashes or without. It makes no never mind. Amount you are paying by check or money order. Okay, this is a negative value. Okay, because now I have presented the IRS with a check. Okay, for a positive amount for $35,137. And it is my wish to debit that money from the account. Like, think of your own bank account, right? Let's say you had $100 in your checkings account and you went to an ATM. You stuck your debit card into the ATM and you said, hey, I got $100. I want to take that out and use it, right? So when you would enter how much do you want to withdraw, that withdrawal creates a negative $100. So a positive $100 and a negative $100 is zero. And then you get $100 in cash. Does that make sense? We're doing the same thing except with paper. Okay. And your utilities are your decedent and your estate. Okay. They are transmitters like an ATM, like an automated teller. Okay, they're transmitting these funds to you. Okay, just with paper. All right, here I enter the name of the estate, the fiduciary's name, the address, the city, state, and zip code. Okay, and the result, we all know. Okay, I've shown this check a couple. I wanted to show others, guys, but like, it's been some crazy stuff going on. I have people like showing up at my house and my address kind of got leaked. And just to protect myself and my family, like, I don't want to release too much financial information. So again, I'm not trying to gatekeep or withhold information. It's just for my safety and my privacy. Okay. But I got it from Ogden. I sent the 1041, and it even has it on here, reference the 1041, because the 1041 was telling them to go ahead and initiate the return. They took the information off of the return and they sent me the check in the mail for that amount. Okay. So again, if you're dealing with a repossession or foreclosure, just take what you need. Okay. Maybe get a little bit extra pocket money, pocket change. You had a dream candle business. You wanted to buy some equipment to start up your lawn care bit, whatever it was that you want to do. Okay. Make sure it's something that you're happy doing. Okay. Make sure it's something you're going to be comfortable with doing. Your private bank is just to manage your assets. Okay. The money that you earn and that you make, but you don't have to name your, like, your private bank is where you store all of your assets, but you're free to name your businesses to give them whatever, Jasmine's bakery. You know what I mean? You're free to use that DBA under your private bank so that, they don't really know what your private bank, they don't need to know your private bank's name. You can just use that DBA to do business. Okay. Jerry's Lawn Care Service. Okay. You can establish an unincorporated DBA and you do business. Okay. So take a little bit extra, get what it is that you need to start up that business. Okay. And then you can begin to operate and earn money. I'm an advocate of earning money off labor. Okay, I'm an advocate for that, but the IRS is absolutely a tool that you can use to, get the funds in your pocket to pay off whatever debts you have and get rid of these people. Do not go back into debt. Do not go and sign any new promissory notes. You will not be conducting business in that manner again. If you choose to do business in that manner after everything you have learned and everything you know up to this point, you're totally on your own with that. Okay, but you can absolutely borrow the money from your treasury. Sorry, I got tongue tied. Your estate, okay, and pay off whatever debts you have, and now you're free and clear. Okay, you can go ahead and focus on what have you always wanted to do. There is something, I don't care what it is. You wanted to open a daycare. You wanted, it does not matter. Make sure it's something you're happy with doing. Okay, and go for it and do it. Okay, I think I have covered just about everything. Again, guys, I do appreciate your support for the ebook. I was trying to get it out to you as quickly as possible because what I realized was that I have more followers in emergencies than I do followers that are just kind of looking for help with setting up their banks and managing their assets. So I thought that this would be a more beneficial approach for you guys to just listen. It's easier for them to just go ahead and borrow the money from their own trust and their own estates. There's no interest attached. There's no debt attached. You don't have anybody claiming to be your creditors after you, threatening you, okay, whatever the case may be. Just borrow the money, pay these people, tell them to go to hell, and move on with pursuing happiness. Okay, so I appreciate you guys for all of your support and your encouragement. I pray and hope that this is beneficial. It has been beneficial to me. I have used this repeatedly. No one has sent any threatening letters. I have not been thrown in jail or anything crazy like that. Okay, in terms of the 8281, you do not need an 8281 for this. You are not a issuer, okay, of any publicly offered securities or anything of that nature. So the 8281 is not required to be attached or to be sent to the IRS with the OID. Okay, so don't even worry about it. I think that's it. Thank you guys again. I know you say, Christina, stop saying thank you so much, but I really do appreciate you guys. Just follow the instructions. If you want to do, this is one of the exceptions I'll make with a copy and paste. Okay. It's one of the exceptions I'll make because it's your stuff. You can't get in trouble for using your own stuff. Okay, so go ahead and use the examples I provided. Get it in the mail quickly. Okay, make sure, double check it. Make sure you got your signatures on there, that the dates are good. Send it express mail so you can get it into them quickly and start to process. Okay, if you're in an emergency, like maybe within the next couple of weeks or 2 weeks, they're talking about foreclosing or repossessing on you, file a bankruptcy. Okay, open a bankruptcy case to stop that process, and you can breathe and relax, okay, while you're waiting on the IRS to send those payments to you. Now, there is an option for you guys to have the estate checks direct deposited to you. If you look at the ebook, there's a testimonial there from a young lady. She got back much more than what I got back on her first try. And so the young lady got back about $420,000 in the name of her estate. And one of the biggest problems that she was having was that the banks, the employees at the banks, they thought that a real person had died. So they were asking her, they were like, oh, like they did me. I don't know if you guys heard my testimony when I was trying to cash my estate check. They were like, Ms. Wilson, we're so sorry for your loss. And, oh, we know that you're grieving. And I'm like, no, I just want to deposit my check. Like, it's my living estate. Okay. And so when I went in there and explained to them that, hey, this is a living estate, it's not in the same context as the death of a natural person. Okay. I'm just managing my own assets. Then I was able to get a breakthrough and I was able to deposit a check. But the young lady is still having, issues. I don't think that she was kind of able to explain it to them. I brought my birth certificate along. I brought my driver's license, my social security card. Okay. And I just showed them that, hey, this is my living estate. Okay, I am a living executor. I'm managing my estate. There's absolutely a such thing as a life estate. Okay, and I'm setting up. I just need an account, a non-interest bearing account. You don't want to mix your money in with the bank's dirty money. Okay, because they're money laundering. They absolutely are, and they'll deposit that little $1 into your account, and then they'll say, "Oh yeah, we paid all this extra interest we got. We paid that to our account holders." Okay. And that's not what they're doing. They're trying to hide what it is they're doing. And these people are disgusting. They're into sex trafficking, human trafficking, whatever you could think of. We don't want that dirty money. Keep your stinking dollar. Okay. We want a non-interest bearing account. We don't want any of your interest. We don't need your money. We don't want anything from you. Okay. We just needed a place to be able to convert our currencies, okay, our checks into digital currency, okay, something that we can use. That's all. Okay, so I was successful in opening just a regular non-interest bearing account when I explained it to them that way. The young lady heard my testimony when I was telling you guys that I had the same trouble trying to explain to the banks that a real person has not died. This is not a death of a natural person. It's a corporate entity. Okay, I'm just opening a new business entity. I am banking. I am the executor of my estate. Okay, and I just wish to open a non-interest bearing account. Can you help me? If you can't, can you please get a supervisor? And maybe I can explain it to them, in a way that they would understand that this is not the traditional estate where you need letters testamentary and all that extra. I don't need any of those things. And the supervisor of the bank opened the account for me, guys. It's that simple. And that's why I emphasize on just having confidence and getting the information so that when you go into these institutions and you start speaking to people who have never heard this before, okay, you don't sound crazy, if that makes sense. Okay, so I'm going to go. I appreciate the support, you guys. I really do. I thank you so very much. And good luck to you guys. Go out there. Borrow from yourself, from your estate. Borrow from yourself, okay? No interest attached, no debt. Pay off your creditors, and please go pursue happiness, okay? Like the Constitution says. All right, so we'll talk later, guys. Bye.